curious about vegetables? Talk to EWS-KT. Hello everyone, welcome to Around the Veg Table. I'm Lysette Lacambra and your host for this program. In today's episode, we have invited Mrs. Sylvie Desilles to present the topic on steps to lasting impact, fostering changes in sustainable vegetable production. Hello, Sylvie.
Good morning.
Good morning. From cold Europe.
Yes, it is cold, but sunny today, so this is good.
That's good. It's also sunny here in Thailand. Not cold, but at least it's not too hot as during summer season. But yeah, it's good weather actually. Thank you for joining us and for accepting this invitation to present this topic. So just a small or short introduction of Sylvie. So Sylvie is the Sustainable Growth and Development Manager at EWS-KT Knowledge Transfer Foundation with over 25 years of experience in agriculture development across Africa and Asia. Sylvie ensures the lasting impact of EWS-KT initiatives, supporting country teams to foster sustainable vegetable farming practices and maintain access to knowledge transfer services. She holds an agricultural engineering degree from Toulouse, ESAP, and certificates in sustainable development management from Wageningen University, environmental studies, ACS, and ecosystem services for sustainable development from University of Geneva. So it's a quite experience, Sylvie, 25 years, and I'm really looking forward. I know you've had.
You're not making me younger when you say that.
No, I'm not saying that, but you have a lot of experience to share, and I'm really looking forward to this episode on related to sustainable growth and development, especially on our activities in knowledge transfer. So now I welcome you to the virtual floor, and it's yours. Please,
Okay.
present your slides. Thank you, Sylvie.
Thank you very much, Lysette. This is very nice to be invited to that Around the Vegetable episode. So I'm going to try to explain what I'm doing actually now with EWS-KT. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. And I will start with a statement about smallholder farmers produce around 80% of the food consumed in the world, yet they are among the most vulnerable, facing challenges that threaten their livelihood and food security. So starting end of 2023 and into 2024, KT has placed a sharper focus on sustainability. Our aim is not only to support farmers today, but to ensure that changes we foster continue to grow and evolve and sustain over time. So by making sustainable vegetable production a top business activity in rural areas, we can create markets, generate employment opportunities, and improve food security while increasing farmers' income and livelihood. So that may seem a little bit conceptual, but let's try to make it more practical. So what is sustainable growth and development? So sustainable growth and development is about balancing three key pillars: economic profitability, environmental health, and social equity. So it's not about achieving highest yield. It's about ensuring farmers gain optimum income, enabling them to improve their livelihoods. And this approach requires us to think beyond immediate results, focusing instead on the long-term impact for all stakeholders in rural areas and for everyone, men, women, and young people alike. So to realize this vision, we emphasize three interconnected elements: sustainable farming techniques, improving livelihood, and effective knowledge transfer. So I elaborate on this point in the slides to come. However, sustainable growth and development starts with understanding. When entering a new areas, we must take the time to learn about its unique local insights, the challenges, and the indigenous culture. And this practically as an example, involves mapping the stakeholders already active in the area, their role, influence, and the dynamics at play, and setting realistic, achievable targets tailored to the region. So our aim is to establish a strong foundation for sustainable vegetable production as a viable business activity. And this means creating outreach strategies that prioritize quality over quantity and ensure continuous knowledge transfer once KT steps back. It's about making the most of our capacity to achieve lasting, meaningful impact. Before we develop it, let's start and let's highlight an essential principle of sustainability. And like I will repeat it continuously, is preparation from the very start. And sustainability is not about one-size-fits-all approach. We can't simply replicate a solution from one area to another one without adapting it to the local context. Every region, community, and farmers is unique, and it's critical that we take the time to learn from them. For example, in the women-focused study, we gain valuable insight into challenge of women farmers, such as balancing heavy daily workload. These insights allow us to tailor knowledge-sharing activities to better fit their schedules and realities. So it's seemingly simple adjustment, but one that can be often overlooked. So think of it like teaching. At the start of each school year, a teacher must adapt their approach to the new class, understanding the dynamics, the strengths, and needs of the students. Similarly, when we begin work in a new area, we must take time to understand the local context, listen to the farmers, and avoid rushing through this foundational phase. Only by doing so, we can set a stage for meaningful and lasting changes. To achieve sustainability, we must learn, engage, and build together with farmers and stakeholders and other organizations working in the area, rather than simply telling them what to do. So collaboration allows us to define objectives that are relevant and achievable. And this is a continuous process. We must reflect regularly, pausing to ask whether what we are setting up is truly bringing about meaningful changes. And their observation is key. But it's often the most challenging part. We tend to focus on outcomes we expect or hope to see, sometimes overlooking what is actually happening. By observing carefully, we gain a clear understanding of the dynamics and can identify both positive and negative change early on. And monitoring and evaluation are crucial in this process, providing solid data to help us adjust and fine-tune our approaches. I will say an observation example. In Cambodia, we've observed farmers investing in drip irrigation and fertigation system. We could just say, wow, great, they are investing. But by closely looking at their practice and observing what they are doing, we uncovered critical insights, such as the farmers were using non-soluble fertilizer. This is cheaper, but it doesn't provide the right amount of nutrient to the plant. So if we observe this, it can be addressed by increasing knowledge on fertigation and getting expertise from other organizations if we do not have it in-house. So we collaborate with other organizations. And such observations, when you visit the field, strengthen our ability to support farmers effectively and sustainably. So I have a questions for you, because it's not just about me talking to you. I think you have a lot of experience. So in your work, have you ever had to change your approach based on observations? And if yes, what were the results? How did you do that? So Ramid, you have one. What is yours?
Ramid, you can turn on your audio and speak up.
Yes, Sylvie, good morning and good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Yes. Yeah, so sorry, I was writing, so I have to stop and then answer to this question. So I remember our early stages as KT in Ghana. When we were deployed to our various communities, what we thought observations are done, we realized that you cannot meet them during the day. because during the day, though they are not going anywhere,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
but you have to just how we can meet them. So usually I schedule and said, okay, let me go by their way. What time do you think it would be better for us to meet? And someone like, okay, if you rather meet, late evening, that is the time most of the men would have, been done with their things in the house and we can meet. So I realized that by observing their movement in the community and then also listening to them, I was able to mass a lot of farmers, and that is something that I wish I can share.
Okay, so Ramit, I think you will need to type your answer in the chat box, but I think I remember one of our discussion in Ghana when you explained, yeah, this is true. But at the beginning, it was, we tend to call people for training at a certain time of the day. And then in Ghana, because the farmers are going to the field during the day and the field are quite scattered. I mean, it's a farming system is many little plots in different places. So it's very difficult to have this big training session with a large group during the daytime. And it can have to happen a little bit later in the evening. And that's a very good example. I think the same in Myanmar. I mean, very good example. So training time was changed to early morning because of vegetable growing task. So it's very important to observe and to understand the dynamic. Thank you very much for sharing this. This is very good. Continuing on how can we ensure that sustainability is truly taking root during a project? The answer could lie in focusing on 3 interconnected components. One is sustainable vegetable production, so integrated improved farming technique into existing system to build resilience and productivity. Sustainable livelihood, empowering farmers to enhance their income and quality of life through profitable and adaptable practices. And sustainable knowledge transfer, so fostering long-term adoption and dissemination of innovative methods by equipping communities with tools to continue learning and sharing knowledge. So if we address these 3 pillars, we create a framework that supports ongoing growth and resilience even beyond the project time. So if we look at each of these pillars, like sustainable vegetable production, so it's about integrating vegetable growing technique into existing smallholder farming system. This means we don't simply introduce, like I say, a one-size-fits-all package and push it onto the farmer, but instead we assess the current systems, whether the land is owned or rented, the opportunities, the challenges on the farm, the available assets, and the natural resource around the farm. It can be organic mulch, it can be water, organic mulch materials. And then we adapt our showcases, means our demonstration, to fit this specific context. So this approach, if we take into account the context, allows farmers to see firsthand how they can adopt and potentially expand production. They can also evaluate the risk they are willing to take, empowering them to make informed decisions. So to run a profitable and sustainable activity, farmers must also have reliable access to markets, inputs, and agricultural equipment. And for long-term success, we have to raise awareness about environmental factors. It can be soil health, water conservation, biodiversity, forestry. It's essential. Without water, crop cannot thrive. Without biodiversity, farming system lose resilience. So smallholder farmers have limited margins for error and often intensify productions or somehow intensify production. But this setup is fragile. So raising awareness and promoting sustainable practices strengthen their ability to adapt. So we have also sustainable livelihood, and it's at the heart of what we do. Building farmers' capacity for profitable production not only increases their skill and confidence, but also improves their income and quality of life. So with the knowledge they gain, farmers apply better techniques in their field, leading to higher yields and better returns. So in quick impact study, farmers often highlight how increased income allows them to meet essential needs first, such as providing food for their family, paying school fees for their children. Beyond that, many have been able to reinvest in agriculture input for the next season, and in some cases, begin saving, whether through purchasing livestock, gold, or other means. Importantly, farmers adapt knowledge they receive into practices that make the most sense for their specific situations, blending it with their existing local knowledge. So to further enhance outcome, improving access to finance and fostering market partnership are key strategies. So we aim to create a dynamic, supportive, and enabling learning environment for the development of sustainable vegetable production. And by doing so, we help to transform livelihood, making them more resilient. So sustainable knowledge transfer is at the core of what we do, aiming for long-term adoption and ripple effect of knowledge sharing. Over time, farmers can adopt and adapt improved techniques, but this requires a strong foundation, pillars that support continuous learning and innovation. Key to this strategy is building a network of resource persons in rural communities, leaders who can influence, inspire, and stay connected. So one example we have is a community farmer trainer. I mean, it can be called differently in different countries. Is a farmer that chosen by their peers. So these individuals participate in advanced need-based training. They are often a step ahead, business-oriented, charismatic, and committed to bringing positive change to their communities. The CFTs play a crucial role in trickling down knowledge and innovation to others. And through thoughtful identification, we ensure these resource persons are also serving both men, women, and young people in their communities. And this inclusivity strengthens the system we establish, guaranteeing broader access and equity in knowledge sharing. So to ensure knowledge reaches farmers effectively, we must be proactive and creative. Extension materials help us, they are tools, but need to align with the audience, the communication channels, and local context, while continuing promoting inclusivity. And this requires, from our side, energy, strong communication skills, and innovative thinking. Sometimes simple non-digital tools can be as impactful as digital ones. I think in the photo you can see Flipchart can be useful if you want just to share information. And we know that materials are effective when we see farmers actively engaging with them, like taking pictures to share with others. So the approach of developing extension materials is continuous and is a long term. So though our team is small, even if we are now reaching maybe 200 people, it's still very small, but we can ignite a dynamic in rural communities. When we spark farmers' interest, the real work begins. It's not about delivering, and I repeat, it's not about delivering a one-size-fits-all package, but finding the right entry points and keeping that interest alive. So ultimately, great trainers combined with well-designed extension materials lay the foundation for a thriving, sustainable learning environment. So I have another question for you. In your country, because now I think CFT is becoming quite, popular, how do you identify support the CFT in your region?
I am Ramachandra from India.
Yeah, Ram.
In India, ma'am, no CFT, but we have similar like REW,
Yeah.
Rural Extension Worker. So we are working like a means they get like very much support to our team as well as our local farmers. In case like if KT stop some village work 2 year or 3 year, after then they left. Our KT project are finished this area, they also moved to another location. In that case, CFT or REW very helpful for us and as well as our local farmer, because they are belong to local community and they continuously stay in that local area and they already learn a lot of technique from KT side, our TFA side. So for sustainability, their role is very important and we need to touch with him in the long time. If require any support suggestion, we will open communication with each other, our TFA, our staff and uh, REW. So this is the impact, I think, per my experience. If we will move any other location, REW role is very important for that location for sustainability accepts. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ram. This is very good. I think one point you put is they are from the community and they are staying in their community. So it's very important to work with them. Thank you very much for sharing. Imad, you said to train other farmers and give the source of quality input supply like East-West seed. So they are becoming, they are bringing actually the seeds at the doorstep of the farmer. I mean, that's also very important. Sometimes farmers have to go quite far to find East-West seeds. So these CFTs can play a role there. Let's continue. So this is a concept. And how to initiate it. How to initiate and nurture changes to achieve sustainable growth. This is a long-term objective that requires establishing systems to ensure progress and support. And to do this, I will present 4 key elements of protocols that we can work around and implement effectively. When I will share the presentation, there is a link where you can see other protocols as well. But we'll just explain on these 4 protocols. First is the inception phase. This involves deep and effective stakeholder engagement. When entering a new area, it's about truly understanding the local context, its challenges, opportunities, and dynamic before taking any actions. Risk and climate assessment. While we often talk about climate change, we focus less on understanding specific risk and consequences it poses to smallholder farmers. So this assessment also involves measuring the environmental impact of our core activities to ensure that they align with sustainability principle. Sharing mechanisms. We need robust system for knowledge sharing. So an example is a spider web of resource person. We talk about the CFT, but there are more people. So it's a network of individuals who act as self-sustaining communication channels, ensuring that knowledge trickle down effectively and qualitatively. And exit strategy. I mean, we need a clear and practical exit strategy, and this is critical. It ensures that the system and knowledge we establish can continue independently when we step back, leaving a legacy of resilience and self-sufficiency in the communities we work with. So if we look at the inception phase, I think all the people who are involved in project management heard about inception phase, but more as a kind of administrative thing to do. Something we need to change a little bit, because the inception phase is one of the most important in a project. It's not about ticking box, like, okay, so many staff are employed, so many demos are set up. But it's about taking time to confirm the concept in a specific area. Depending on the length of the project, the inception phase can last anywhere between 3 months and a year. While project proposals give a framework and target, they don't always account for the unique specificities of each area. The inception phase provides the opportunity to do so. So the inception phase provides the opportunity to work out implementation strategies with the stakeholders, other organizations in the ground, starting, of course, with the farmers. Begin with initial activities like demo, training session, or field days, and even learning farm in a new area to observe the dynamic, understand the local context. It's also vital to assess farmers' access to seeds, inputs, market, as well as understand the main challenges and opportunities. From there, strategy can be defined collaboratively with stakeholders, other organizations, to optimize KT's core activities. So this process includes short-term monitoring and evaluation, followed by analysis with the stakeholders, with the implementation team, including farmers, to tune project implementation. So conducting sense-making sessions help adjust outreach strategies for specific areas, focusing on quality engagement and ripple effects rather than just meeting numeric targets. So we did a pilot or a very small sense-making session last month in Ghana. And I think Nicolas shared how he's bringing interest with the farmers or trickling the interest of the farmers. And he found that farmers, I think in many areas, are very interested in insect pest and disease management. And the way he changed a little bit how he implement the training or the training with farmers is providing initial information on that subject became an effective entry point to capture interest before introducing other vegetable production techniques. So a small session on insect pests and disease management can actually bring the entry points to other technical improved techniques like land preparation or seedling production. I mean, everything come after, but trickling the interest is very important. So I will say, in short, for inception phase, be smart, adapt to the context. So an essential aspect of our work is capacity building, ensuring that farmers and other stakeholders we trained are equipped to share their knowledge with others. And to succeed in this, the first step is training extension workers. So I think most of the participants here. And you must be equipped with the necessary technical expertise and skill so you can be effective agents of change. I think it's Winnie from Tanzania that came up with that terminology. So you are more than just providers of information. You are collaborators, trust builders, facilitators within the community. So you wear many hats and you play a key role in the success of the program. But you cannot do everything on your own. So extension workers need to build the capacity of other local stakeholders as well. And an example, one critical stakeholder is the agro-dealers. Even though agro-dealers are business-oriented and tend to push the product with the highest profit margin, when they are equipped with sound knowledge, they come to realize that by offering better advice to farmers, they also can attract a larger clientele and ensure long-term business growth. The delivery of training is just as crucial as the content itself. Blending learning method, mixing different tools and approaches, incorporating creativity and innovation, and being need-based are working well. We can take the example of in Nigeria, at the moment they have refresher training and they go back to areas where they train farmers to kind of refresh on overall on sustainable vegetable production. They are using trucks with large screens, they have videos, they have question answers, they have games and rewards. It attracts a large crowd of farmers that were trained or just interested, and it provides a good refresher training. At the same time, it's entertainment, so it's a social event, and that works very well. So it's very innovative, it's very creative, and it's very interesting to look at. And capacity building is continuous, and it's an evolving process. What we do today, we have to look at. It requires regular evaluation to ensure it remains relevant and effective. So you always have to rethink. So we heard many times that decisions should be made on solid, reliable data. And now we have a stronger M&E team and system in place. So we are in a better position to do that. And one thing is a baseline assessment is the best starting point when entering a data. You collect data at the beginning of a project, allows us to understand the starting condition and provide foundation for measuring progress over time. This data can be analyzed with the implementation team to ensure it is being used to its full potential. So we don't collect baseline data to write a nice report that we pile on top of other reports. The data has to go back to the people that implement the project and be discussed. Another crucial component is evaluation of risk and climate impact. Farmers who are trained in sustainable practices are also better equipped to evaluate the risks associated with climate change and identify mitigation strategies. And this information is vital and should be used like in decision-making process, such as when discussing business plans with farmers and other stakeholders. We have also data from monitoring demo activities. It's live, real-time information if the system is regularly updated, but it becomes an invaluable resource for tracking what is happening on the ground, including the techniques that have been adopted or not by farmers. For instance, in case where we subsidize input like pesticides, it's important to observe the decision made by the key farmers with the support of the TFO. on how they manage these demos. And it helps us evaluate the effectiveness and relevance of the techniques being used. So by making data-driven decisions, we can better support sustainable vegetable production and ensure that our activities are tailored to the specific needs and circumstances of the farmer. So another question for you. What types of data have proven most valuable for influencing your decision-making? Okay, yield per plant, training data. So what decision do you take when you get the yield per plant? Like if you get information about yield per plant, how does it help Imad? You can switch on your mic, is good.
Like the decision can be connected the dots, what are the actual practices that can be improved in the next season, and how we can put better yield for the next season. This sort of things can be recap from the yield per plant data.
Okay, very good. Ram, you talk about yield data again and ROI. How does it help you in decision making?
Actually, ma'am, yield data, many farmer not collect the data. If we know about our yield per plant or per acreage, then we have easy convince to other farmer. And as well as yield data related to ROI, total cost and total yield. Data is very important because our staff or any farmers, if you ask honestly, they say ki, this tentative number, not exact. But if we go data, then we found the correct number and a big difference between what he thought and what is the exact. So from my point of view, the data important of yield. We have a lot of tools per plant, per acreage, 500 square meter. So if I know the plant, then we don't need to if know our yield, what is the cost, what is the practice, then we know the secondary part. The final discussion about the data. If our yield is good, then we will discuss details.
Okay, very
And
good.
same opposite. If yield not good, then what is the reason?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, very nice. Very good to know. Bhagya, you put history of the land.
Actually, during selection of any crop and variety during a specific area, so we need to know the history of the land uh, from the farmer side, because the farmers must share the exact data with us, exactly they grow in last season. So in that time, we are difficult to select the some crop and also the variety, variety also the market.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, and David, I mean, you say sorry, your network is poor and then transit. So, but if you're able to switch on your mic. Okay, so training data helps to analyze and reschedule training time for participants, monitor gender participation, fine-tune training packages, training topics most interesting to participants. Yeah, so data is very useful and very important and help us. So that's really something we need to continue making an effort to make sure that we have data collected in the field. And it's not about controlling what people are doing. It's really helping us in achieving our mission. So one thing we kind of maybe not really look at till now, but it's one of the most important aspects of sustainability and continuity of knowledge sharing is having a solid exit strategy in place. So we cannot simply leave an area and hope for the best. Preparation for the transition phase is crucial. Our field staff play a key role in building trust with farmer, and maintaining that trust as we move toward less intensive support is critical. So to ensure this transition is smooth, we need to identify key resource person who will continue to drive knowledge sharing and support in the community after KT's direct involvement. And we need to stay connected with these people. It's also vital to bridge activities with other organizations, the private sectors in place, the government organization, NGOs, to ensure ongoing support. And the example we can add as a private sector is to a seed that can continue to nurture and expand the seed market and continue to provide services to farmers. And as we transition, it's also very important to still monitor the impact on the environment. We must assess how the adoption and rapid expansion of vegetable production is affecting local ecosystem, especially when it comes to soil health, water use, and biodiversity. Ensuring that farmers are adopting practices that not only increase productivity, but also safeguard the environment is a key component of our exit strategy. By preparing with the local community and setting up system for continued support, we can ensure long-term sustainability and vegetable production, while safeguarding both the livelihood of farmers and the environment. So in conclusion, sustainable growth and development are not just about achieving short-term results. It requires a thoughtful and strategic approach that takes into account the long-term impact. And together, we can build a future where sustainable vegetable production transforms rural economies, empowers community, and safeguards the environment for generations to come. So before answering any question you have, I have one more question for you. What role can each of us play in ensuring that sustainable vegetable production continues to grow and evolve beyond our immediate efforts? What do you see for yourself? What could you do? Or what would you like to do?
I think while waiting for others to answer, Sylvia, I can also mention from my side.
Yeah.
Well, ensuring also that we continuously grow, I think, and evolve. I think our approach in delivering training, especially for us, for the technical support hub, in delivering training and delivering extension materials to farmers, that you mentioned that it needs to have to really listen to the users, really knowing how users use or how farmers use our materials. Do they really understand it? And would also, it really is important also maybe to bring them in discussion and involve them in designing extension materials for farmers. So farmers designing extension materials for farmers. I think that would really create a better sustainable approach in our activities.
Yeah, that's very good. I really like the last what you say at the end, like farmers to farmers. I think that's very important. Not just training a farmer train another farmer, but going beyond that in extension material, really handing over the expertise to farmers. I think Ram say save water. Yeah, I think really look at how we can in our demo manage better water, and water will be very important. We cannot just say, I mean, last visit in Ghana, I mean, it's a very good example about, we cannot just say, oh, we couldn't do the demo because there were no rain, because we are training farmers on smart climate change techniques. So we need to be ready to propose mitigation techniques, and it can be harvesting water. IMAD to transfer the knowledge of good agricultural practice as many smallholder farmers as possible. Yeah, always thinking about the quality, but good. Yeah, if we have more farmers involved and interested, this is good. Domingo, as for me, I'm going to make the community with the sharing knowledge by the digital ways, knowledge transfer section. Can you switch on your mic, Domingo, to explain a little bit what you want to do?
As for me, I'm also making the manage on the Facebook group, Telegram channel, Viber channel. So I'm making community channel for the farmer and other young farmers. Yeah.
This is good. Very good. And Imad, you put a very good point. Waste management. I think we are not yet there to have a very strong waste management system in place. I mean, we have the training modules, but I think we have to go beyond just a training modules. We have to ensure that this is implemented, definitely in the learning farm, hopefully in all the demos as well. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this help you also understand what I'm doing. I think there's more now coming from Bagya, selection of more RW to train to continue support to the farmers, also good communication and sharing knowledge with existing KT area through social media. Yeah, when you have the digital tools, it's fantastic. It has a huge potential. And also Abdul Jalal Mohammad, sharing knowledge of improved agronomic practices to smallholder farmers, sharing learning materials, posters, radio and visual methods. Yeah. So we have to be creative, innovative, and look at what is working in one region or one area. So thank you very much. And I'm welcoming your questions now.
Thank you very much, Sylvie. That was really insightful session. I think in today's presentation, you have shown us how sustainable vegetable production can empower farmers and protect the environment. Especially you mentioned it a lot of times on the environmental issues and also on the impact of the activities that we have with farmers, and also on how to create lasting impact. We've learned the importance of tailoring solutions to local needs. I think I would grab what you mentioned on that. There's no one size fits all approach in all project areas that we have, even in a country, within a country. Per state maybe have a different, you may have to adjust your approach, and building strong knowledge sharing networks and planning for long-term success. I would also put there what you've mentioned on stakeholder collaboration. I think we don't work alone. We have a lot of stakeholders that could help us also ensure the sustainability within the projects, or even in a larger areas for smallholder farmers. I also wanted to thank those who also added their insights on those questions. It was really great to hear from all of you, from all our participants. Thank you very much. We are welcoming questions. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put that in the chat box or in the Q&A section, or also turn on your microphone. Please also welcome to share it. It's free to ask questions.
Yeah, no, I was going to say something that's not right.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I heard your mind. But I also would like to check on our Facebook live stream if there are some questions. I have one for you, Sylvie. I know, sorry, I saw Nicholas raising his hand. Nicholas, I heard your name a while ago, so maybe you have other additional points from there. Nicholas, please.
On the sustainability, I want to ask Sylvie, being area specific, but that is zonal. For example, a village A, you can't grow vegetable during the dry season, but in village B, you can grow vegetable during the dry season. Now, how sustainable will it be that during the dry season, I'm not coming to that place at all because there's no water source, nothing there? Can we still say that there will be sustainability when we continue to only work during only the dry season?
That's a good question. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Yeah, I think it's what when you work with village A, I mean, you will work during rainy season, and hopefully the farmers will learn from it, and they know their farming system. They know the opportunities and challenge they have, and they know they will not be able to grow vegetable during the dry season unless they come to have a water source. So I think what they learn during the rainy season will stay. I mean, they will be able to use it the next rainy season. In village B, because you will be there, I mean, the year round, because they can produce a vegetable during dry season. Of course, your impact will be bigger, because certainly you will raise much more interest to farmers. I mean, they see it, okay, this is really a business activity I can conduct the whole year. But I will give you the example of Odisha. Last time I visited Odisha in Keonjhar, and we met young people who are teachers and farmers, and they are just growing vegetable during one season when they get water. And what they said is, okay, that season they grow big, I mean, relatively big area, but that's a cherry on the cake. Like it's an extra bonus they get during the year. So they have a regular salary as teachers, but it's not very high. But one season they can push vegetable production and get very good income. It's a bonus. And they learn and they keep that learning. So I think it's when people realize they're able to see the limitation in their own environment, and they're able to see what you're providing. And actually, it's very good to say and to talk to the farmers when it comes to the dry season to really see if it's possible to grow vegetable during the dry season. If it's not possible, it's not possible. And this is fine. Does it answer your question, Nicholas?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicholas, for the question. Any other also would like to ask their questions?
Thank you, ma'am, for the presentation. Ma'am, I think just like if we are considering the sustainability, just like if our farmers are not safe, just like we are trying to give training to them wearing the PP kit during spraying pesticide, but we are failing on that to train the farmers. So how we can do to create more awareness among the farmers to wearing the PP kit during the pesticide spray? Any
Okay.
other programs we can do?
Can you repeat the question?
What I understood is more on we've been doing training on pesticide, I think responsible use of pesticide.
Mhm.
Weird, but we
Yes.
still have issues on farmers really practicing it, right? Good, yeah, responsible use of pesticides. So how are we going to deal with it? Like much better approach to have a more responsible use of pesticide of farmers.
Okay, I could turn the question to you back. Yeah, I think you're doing a fantastic job in Odisha. So you certainly have answers to your question. What I can say is the thing is, if we stay in the areas for one season or two seasons, this is definitely not enough to really have a solid foundation, particularly in responsible use of pesticide. We start talking about responsible use of pesticide by bringing improved techniques. I mean, during the land preparation, the seedling production, the fertilization use, it brings already quite a foundation to lower the use of pesticide. But we need to understand also to talk to farmers why suddenly, I call them the panic mode moment, when we observe that farmers even adopting improved practice at a certain time have a panic mode and start to spray a lot, even if they know, okay, this is not exactly what they should do. It's because they have a small area and they can't afford to lose that crop. So that confidence building to manage your insect pest and disease is not easy. It takes time. It takes really a lot of knowledge. So if we want to do it, it's really to start it well, and to continue sharing knowledge, to continue visiting if we can, even if we leave the areas. That's why we have the REW in India, or senior REW or CFTs. But these key farmers are a little bit more advanced and may not have this panic mode moment where they just rush and they want to save a crop. This is a difficult thing to tackle, and it's long term, and that needs continuity. It's not something you will do in 1 or 2 seasons. And I think the THS is bringing up some tools like the pesticide tools that can be useful at the agro-dealer level. Maybe it can be shared with the REW or senior REW. So and identifying a booklet that you can identify the insect pest or disease, and refresher about IPM approach, scouting the field, trying to make sure that people don't come into that panic mode.
Yeah, I agree with the points of Sylvie. I think what would I go back to what you mentioned also, Sylvie, in the in your presentation. I think for a faster, not in a faster, but a better way of approach to really get the buy-in of farmers in here is really bringing farmers together. I think knowing why they are not practicing it. And because if we keep on doing training, but still we see that farmers don't do it really responsibly, then there's something wrong in not maybe in the approach or in the method that we do, but it could be on the the whole community. I think one farmer could not do much of the responsible if they see that other farmers are doing also otherwise. So I think community, as you mentioned, bringing farmers together, communication, and really have a reflection with these farmers on the why of things, why not being adopted is really important. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Christian also raised his hand. Maybe he has some inputs about that issue. Christian?
Yeah, good morning, Sylvie
Good
and then
morning.
Lysette from Ghana. Yeah, I've been having this doubt in my mind, and I want to clear it. Is there any main foundation that can also distort sustainability? And then where does sustainability, in our case, end?
You mean when do we stop working on sustainability?
I think what I got from Christian's question is there any foundation or other organization working like really focusing on sustainability?
Yes, to be clear, I wanted to know whether there's any major pillar that can hold sustainability in our field. I know that they are interconnected factors that can keep it going, but is there any major factor that I have in my mind that I want to clear? In my mind, I was thinking it's water. Water is the first thing that is the major pillar in sustainability to produce vegetables. But I know it's interconnected. I wanted to also clear that doubt in my mind, because in my operational zones, my experience right now, because the temperature now is rising to what, 34, 35 degrees Celsius, and those who are not close to water source and those who are not having water, they've packed down everything and they are relaxing for the next season. And then in our case, we don't have storage materials whereby we can produce a lot of vegetables and keep them in storage to feed us through or to sustain families through the dry season to the rainy season. We have to rely on import from neighboring countries to also sustain our living. So I was thinking water is a major pillar of sustainability when it comes to vegetable production, though it is interconnected with other factors. But I was having that doubt that is the water only the major pillar, or we have something to do about it. Thank you.
I think you answered your question, actually. Yeah, I think it's a little bit like Nicolas put it. We don't do miracles. I mean, if you don't have water available and if you don't have a source of water, I mean, definitely you have a very limited opportunities for vegetable production or even any crop. But what we do, if we start working in an area and we decide to work in that area, we have to ensure that at least we have the minimum resources to share with the farmers improved technique on vegetable production. So that's where it's very important before we start working to look at the area and understand, okay, is it a real potential area for vegetable production? If the water is very scarce and there is no way to get more access to water sources, or even harvesting water will not give better results, we have to think twice before starting there, because it's like trying to create a dream for farmers, but will not go very long. So that's really part of how we select areas. And like I said, we don't do miracles. And particularly if we are not able to partner, like in Ghana, with other organizations, if we don't have the budget to build wells or deep tube wells to increase access to water, or make sure there is continuous access to water in the areas we work and push on vegetable production. So water is very important. Now, if we start in one area on vegetable production, it means we think, and we are more or less sure it can develop. And then that's where we have that climate smart agriculture techniques that can come into the picture. And that comes with mulching. I mean, that comes, with creating access to water during rainy season, harvesting water. So there are techniques we can put in place. But that's the decision we need to make consciously at the beginning, if there is potential for developing vegetable production in that area or not. And if there is no water, we can't do vegetable production. Is it clear for you, Christian?
Yes, please. It's clear for me.
I may also add this, the experience of Bangladesh. I think it's quite rainy, flooded area, but farmers are able to really being resilient on how bringing a technology that would enable them to still produce vegetables during those harsh conditions. I think the Sorjan method that Bangladesh is doing is really a good example of climate smart technology. It's an indigenous technique that really enable farmers to produce during those flooding season. So I think we also can create climate smart technologies in areas where we have issues of water, like Sylvie, you mentioned water harvester and water. I think we have those organic mulching, for example, limiting sizes of vegetable production based on amount of water that you have. So we have, like you mentioned, we don't have a one size fit all. I think in specific areas we have special approach that we can create, and that knowing what the context of the area really would help us think about what approach we can present or what we can recommend to farmers. And there's also one thing, comment, not a comment from the Facebook, viewer, Mr. John Albino from South Sudan, that we need to empower following farmers with training on vegetables and integrated pest and disease management, plantation techniques, and provision of enough seeds, tools, and equipment. I think that's a very good point on how we build or create more sustainable vegetable production. And thank you, Christian, for the question. Another question from Christian, Sylvie. I would also like to know whether sustainability goes beyond the field, and how can we, as field officer, influence that?
I think it's what we talk about, like if you have stakeholder engagement, we are not alone in the areas. There are many other people working there. So if we just work by ourselves, we don't really create full sustainability. But if we work with other organizations already in place, I mean, it depends on the country. Like this is contextual as well. I mean, in some countries, the government extension workers are very present and can continue provide that support to farmers. We look at East-West seed. I mean, if East-West seed find the market created by KT is very interesting and can grow, but normally where we start, we discussed before, so they should be interested. East-West seed should be interested and ready to go to follow up, but also it's contextual. I mean, not all the countries and not East-West seed is well established already in all the countries. So sometimes they have their own challenges. But if East-West seed is well established in the country, they have a network of distributors and agro dealers and retailers that can also provide services to farmers when we leave. They have their promoters. So there are different stakeholders we can work with, and that's very, very interesting. So it's not just about us, it's about, like, I think in Ghana, the person for sales will say, when you have your list of key farmers on CFT, that would be fantastic, because then they can reconnect with them and continue working with them. So that's a way to ensure sustainability.
Yeah, collaboration. I think the second point that you mentioned, Sylvie, more on the collaboration, communication. From Ram, nowadays climate going change by day, negative impact. So can we try to do agroforestry with farmers for plantation?
I'm very happy you put it, Ram, because I think that's also something we don't look so much. And okay, climate change is there. So first thing is like, we talk about climate change, and I think we have to look really at the risk of climate change and talk with the farmers. Like, we cannot say, oh, there's no rain, so there is no vegetable. If you have access to water, you can have vegetable. Or there is too much rain, and well, we can at least try to have a good drainage in your demo or higher. So there are techniques to mitigate climate change. Now, that's when I say observation is very important. When you see that the techniques, like for tomato, as an example, in Uganda or Nigeria, and I think it's a bit Tanzania, is taking over, like all the farmers are so interested with tomato. Automatically, you put pressure on the trees around, on anything that needs to be collected to do tracing of tomatoes. And that can have a big consequence as a long term. I mean, if people cut trees, it's not very good. If people cut branches of trees and the trees are just one trunk, it's not good as well. So I think it's very important to observe what is happening, and agroforestry is very, very interesting to set up to support what we are doing. Not just about, okay, tracing materials, but also can bring a revenue for the people that is maybe at long term, but it's a way that they know they're going to have a revenue. If it's orchids, they're going to have fruits that they can have for their family. And also for biodiversity. So this is important. And I think Lysette will say also for manuring, you can also have leaves for manure. I mean, for fertilization.
Yeah.
So yeah, agroforestry definitely something to consider. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good point, Ram, actually, and also a response, Sylvie. We try to present this, right, techniques. However, also we have to check, especially the land ownership. I remember when we visited in Indonesia, there's one farmer who had a very big area. And then we were actually discussing like, oh, is it also possible for you to bring in trees, fruit trees, or agroforestry in your system? And his response really struck me, because what he said is that, okay, it's a good technology, but I couldn't do it because I'm renting the land, and I might not be able to use this next year, and the owner might be just benefit from what I will grow. So sometimes there's a limitation for agroforestry. That's why also it needs to be brought in a community level. It's not just on the farmer level, individual level, but it's also on the more on a larger area or larger audience. I think that can also bring in more buy-in rather than just one individual or one key farmer.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rami has another. Sorry, Sylvie.
I think to add to what you say, I think in some countries the government have programs, so we don't need to create something new. We just need to get informed about what is already in place, and this is good.
Yes, Ramid, you raise your hand.
Yes, yes, Lisa, that's right. Okay, so this is not a question, it's a bit of a contribution from my observation. So I see that all the time when we talk about sustainability, what I'm looking at is the farmers we are working with. because we are looking at the smallholder farmers. But when I check the definition of the who a smallholder farmer is, and as well as a subsistence farmer, our approach is kind of, we are not working with any, because if I'm right, you see that the definition of a smallholder farmer looks about someone who produces just to feed the family and as well as sell the surplus. But here's the case: we are working with farmers whose main target is with the farmers, but they are not, with the market. But then they are not also commercial-based farmers. So I think it is high time. Civil society organizations come together to sit down and then brainstorm, and let's see how are we going to influence the market. Because to make your production sustainable, you have to have a sustainable market. So you realize that during the dry season, like what we are experiencing currently in Ghana, produce are scarce. Prices are higher, and the farmers are willing to produce, but then they are lacking that issue of innovations such as water to produce. So if CSO organization does not come in to see how we are going to regularize the market, farmers might be tempted to go in for dry season production, and at the end of the day, produce become abundant again, and then they are running at a loss. So I believe that when we are looking at sustainability, we should also give a critical attention to the market, because when the market is good, sustainability will increase in the production sector of the farmers. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's very important to look at the market. If you don't have a market, then you can produce and you don't get any income, so it doesn't go very far. I think as I see the question from Anishwe that goes a little bit in the same sense, like I would like to know, are politics, policy, laws, and price markets effect on sustainability? Yes, it does. There are things we can, the sustainability we are talking about, with KT is really that continuous knowledge sharings and improved sustainable vegetable production. And it's true that, politics can ruin all your effort. Now, we have to think, hopefully that will be just a stop for a few months or a year, and then people can start again. But it can really hamper our efforts. The market, the prices, yes. And that's, I think, why we are also looking much more now at market linkages and also find different buyers. So if we want to have the farmers going from subsistence farmer, like Ramit put, to more commercial farmers, that comes also with access to market and understanding how the market works. Not just a wet market, but also other opportunities. And I think in the Philippines, this has been really worked out much more than in other countries. That's a Philippine context also, not to copy paste in other country, to really understand how it works, the dynamics. But yeah, I think when you have politics coming in, and that's the thing, is on paper it's always very easy to put. You just say engagement of stakeholder, everybody works together, bingo, this is working. When you go to do it, you face people, and people in one area, it may work well. People are collaborating, understanding why, they're more charismatic, understanding why they want to work for the communities. Other area, maybe people are more individualist, they have like political ambitions, and their collaboration will come if they see something they can win from it. So then it's much more difficult, and they can really block anything that's going on. So yeah, it's not easy. And like I say, on paper, no problem. But that's why you need to spend time to understand the context. And you may not work in one area because you can see that, okay, I can train farmers, but maybe the access to market will be very, very difficult. Or we can go there, but the collaboration with other private companies or organization, government, non-governmental, will be very difficult. So we cannot really see how it's going to continue. that's also to evaluate.
Thanks, Sari. Yes, I got it.
Thank you, Hani. Thank you, Ramid. Thank you, Ram. Thank you, Sylvie. This is very interesting discussion. I think looking at the time, we still have 6 minutes to go. I think I would like to maybe conclude with this question from Palm. This is a very good question from Palm. Thank you, Palm, for asking it. So, Sylvie, what are the most effective indicators to assess we are on the right track achieving sustainability?
I think we have this impact study that we are doing now, and we piloted in Uganda and Cambodia. But will give us quite interesting information on because we are interviewing farmers 2-3 years after we leave the area, on who is continuing and what challenges we are facing, what techniques we are keeping. So I think, and what incomes we are generating for their family. So is it still interesting? There are very good news from it. I mean, I look at the pilot reports, very good news, and I think there's some work to do. In particularly when I read at the techniques people adopt is, of course, the techniques somehow we present first in our training, land preparation, seedling production, good fertilization, insect pest management, and that's it. And then the crop rotation, water management, maybe soil health, little less, record keeping, little less, business plan, little less. So I think it's like when we look at our results, we see where we are. I mean, it's very good in 1 or 2 seasons, and what we need to do to continue, because the full package or the full knowledge is not grasped in 1 or 2 seasons. It needs more time. And I think that's when we see that people are really able to talk about a lot of things and able to ask, or I will need a refresher on that and this, because this is something I feel like I identify the needs. That's very important. And then we start to expand and want to train others, because they see the potential of sustainable vegetable production as an economic activity in their community. That's I think when we see it start to be very sustainable.
Thank you very much, Sylvie. And I also thank our participants, everyone, for joining us and keeping us until this time. It's a long discussion, but I think it's very interactive. I also appreciate those who turn on their mic and also share their insights. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sylvie, for sharing these valuable insights. And let's take these lessons forward. I think from what you mentioned, the impact study is very important. I think we need to really use what are those the results from those impact study, and continue working towards sustainable growth and resilient farming communities for our farmers. So thank you, everyone. And that's the end of our episode. Do you have any questions you would like to be answered in the future episodes, or topics that you would like to learn more about? Leave your questions or suggestions in the comment section, or in our survey or feedback form, or contact our technical support hub members in your country. So stay tuned and see you next year, because this is the last episode of the year, for another season of Around the Veg Table. Curious about vegetables? Talk to East West Seed. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylvie.